Hi guys, how you doing? It's Dom here. Just had a wonderful chat with N0trixx, talking about mental health, about music creation, creative inspirations, and so much more. This is quite a deep, personal interview. We talk about the war in Ukraine and things like that. So just bear that in mind. It goes into some quite intense subject matters. So yeah, check it out. But obviously, make sure to take care of yourself after you've listened to it, if anything sort of comes up for you. But it was a really good chat. Obviously, I appreciate N0trixx's honesty about what it's like to be an artist at the moment, and to have struggle with being deplatformed, and also to struggle with DID, with some mental health stuff. So we talk in depth about that. So yeah, please check it out. Give it a listen. Support N0trixx. There'll be links and stuff at the bottom in the description of the video and things like that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate your time. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. So it's a pleasure to have you here, N0trixx. You reached out to me a few weeks ago in an email, and it was one of the most kind of detailed and intricate emails promoting a band or an artist that I've had in a very long time. I'm very fortunate to get a lot of emails and inquiries at Soundsphere, but the image and the vibe around N0trixx and your just general kind of demeanor is really interesting, and I wonder how much, before we talk about the condition and before we talk about the musical message, how much kind of importance do you place on your imagery? Because that mask it's not conventional. It's not a normal mask. It's a cool vibe. It's really interesting. So how much emphasis do you put on the image and the vibe and the brand, I guess, of N0trixx, if that's the right word for it?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's a real pleasure, and I am really thankful for being able to tell my story. But as for the imagery, it is definitely part of my whole art approach, because N0trixx is not only about music. The imagery that I use, the visuals that I use, help explain my art and my music much better. Because first and foremost, I'm actually a poet. And this is where it all started, in trying to express the way I feel through words. But I realized, with going ahead with the project, I realized how much easier it is to convey the message using different forms of art. And as we will probably go into detail further, my condition is actually what drives this all. Because, like, going a bit ahead, I can tell you that my mental condition resulted in me as N0trixx, me as this personality within my body, made me a container of all the dark and negative emotions. And that is what drives my art and drives my music, because for years this has been a container that has been suppressed and never opened, and then some sort of a Pandora box opened, and everything that has been storing there for years, everything that has been contained, just burst out. This is how my creations go these days. It's like, people ask me, how do you manage to create so much in such a short space of time? It's just things just burst out of me. And yeah, and there are days when I feel like I'm creative in the visual space. Some days I feel like I cannot do visuals at all. I cannot even think about them. I can only do music and beats and everything. So that's like some sort of an altogether thing that you just, I guess you can stop it if it's coming out of you. So this is how it works with me.
Yes, so it's like a flow, and that's
Yes.
really interesting as well, because obviously part of that, as you mentioned, you again, it's you talk about it quite openly online is your dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative identity disorder, excuse me. And what was it like making the decision to open that up to the world? Because like I say, you have the two personalities, and it's difficult as an artist to open yourself up, especially publicly. You know, you have lots of followers on Instagram, you have lots of people that are going to be accessing this information. So how difficult or easy was that to open that up to the world?
Well, it wasn't easy, but as you have noticed, I am trying my best to hide behind a mask, behind those scratches that I put on pictures, and I'm trying
Mm,
to hide as much of my personal information as I can. And I actually don't keep almost any people that know me in real life away from my profile unless I know for sure that they understand and like they connect with me on the mental level and they
mm,
understand the story of it. That people, those people that I know wouldn't understand. I never share any of that sort with them. And I gradually, that was a gradual process of opening up with my audience. At first, I was just um, a girl who was hiding her face for some reason because of trauma. That was like the message behind it at first, because I wasn't sure how people will take it, but then
mm,
gradually, as I opened up, I could see that the audience not only appreciates it, it becomes more and more loyal, and it backs the message. And also over time, I managed to understand, and that was also concurrent with my therapy, because through therapy, I also understood what the core reason for my condition was, and the core reason was the suppression of emotions.
mm,
And the suppression of emotions came from the fact that there was so little um, understanding of how you can keep your mental health in my family, that inevitably it led to me hiding everything, and that's where I am. I'm not saying it ruined my life, because it's just like makes my life unique, and that's just my life path. But I think uh there are so many situations where people could have avoided some severe mental health conditions if the society were more um, welcoming and to or more attentive to mental health issues. And this is what I stand for these days. This is what I understand now is of huge importance, and is it's my mission to make sure that doesn't get lost in the void. That someone actually pushes it forward and makes it for a focus. So with time, I realized that I need to make sure that people know this, and they are more aware, and they can potentially either avoid conditions like that, or they can at least deal with them, go to a therapist, try to find out what's going on with their head. Because my path, before I started understanding what's going on, before the doctors told me what is going on, it was a lot of like a huge range of negative emotions, as if I, I couldn't understand what was going on. There was confusion, there was fear, there was insecurity, so many things, and I couldn't understand what was going on. If those things were a bit more um, covered in the media, I might have understood it a bit quicker. It might have, but still, I think creating awareness is something very important, and I cannot really uh, now, knowing that how important it is, I cannot stop myself from opening up on this. I genuinely think that that is important that I go on with this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fantastic what you've been able to do in terms of building an audience and talking, about DID and what it has, kind of the impact it's had on you. And I appreciate the kind of the bravery it takes to do that. And I guess, when you're penning a song like, say, Split, for example, you know, is it you mentioned that you write and you're obviously very creative, but is it difficult when you're writing songs of such a with such personal notes? You know what I mean? This isn't just something else to you, is it? This is your life. This is what you feel. So how difficult is it to write a song like Split and that and sort of connect in that personal way to your audience?
Well, there is nothing easier than the writing those songs because it's just self-therapy.
Right.
All those songs, the on the EP, unlike any collabs I do or just like the songs where I'm not the only where I'm not the solo artist. With these songs on the EP that I produced and wrote all by myself, that was the easiest thing because they all started with me uh, writing down the way I feel on my phone, just in the notes, and then I start just rearranging the words to make sure that they rhyme and like they are rhythmically correct, and then I go to my DAW and I make it to them and make all I can to that song. And yeah, at some points I might start feeling a bit shy or, as to how it will uh, come across for the people who don't know me yet. But with Split, as you rightly pointed out, it's like the most mental song ever, I guess, because it has it has me just going absolutely mental and letting go of everything that I had building up in my mind lately. Yeah, I might become a bit shy, but then I try to let go of it. And I do have such a supportive and loyal audience that it's becoming easier and easier with time because I know that there will certainly be people who do appreciate that and who do love every single bit of it. So I try not to think about any side effects to it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that it moves me on nicely to my next question. Really, there is another personal song on there. Well, obviously, they're all very personal, but there's a track called "Bastard" on there, which you wrote about. I think it was about an ex, and I think I was going to ask you in terms of the catharsis, in terms of the release and the relief that these songs give you. Is that a good example? Did that song were you able to just shut that off, put it to the back, as in that's history now once that song was done and ready, or is that something that still plays on your mind, or are your songs absolute catharsis for you? Are you able to, once you've written them, you get you feel relief, if that makes sense?
do. I do feel much better after I've let those emotions out and after I've screamed my heart out.
Yeah,
With Bastard, it was even more interesting because, unlike the other songs where I'm dealing with my own head
yeah,
and I'm dealing with the emotions, and uh, some of them are actually my inner dialogue with my other personality. But with Buster, there was one more person involved. And the funniest thing is obviously like it's a story that is hard to believe, and I find it difficult to believe that I actually did that. But that person, that bastard who really, really hurt me, um, he was celebrating his birthday at an open mic event, and I was feeling so bad that day. I was like literally my absolute worst. But somehow there was some friend of mine who just messaged me and said like, "You go, girl. Why are you staying at home? Just come over," because she was also there, and I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So I rocked my absolutely sexiest badass outfit, and I went to that open mic event and I performed that song live. My knees were shaking, my voice was trembling at first with adrenaline, but I pulled it off, and it was. I'm I'm at the same I'm proud of myself because that hurt girl in me. There are so many girls who never get a chance at it, like getting a revenge as good
Yeah.
as that, as sweet as that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that was yeah, it was quite a retaliation. And yeah, his face was just gradually becoming very, very tense and angry.
Yeah.
But that was really brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. I felt in all the songs, really, you sort of feel as a listener, you feel your emotion and you feel that kind of intensity. And I hope if I use the word bravery, it's not meant to be condescending. I think there is an element of bravery in what you've been able to do as a musician to talk about those things so publicly. And there's another thing that I noticed you've spoken pretty publicly about being deplatformed as a Russian artist, as an artist that had, as a result of the war, and you've had issues with your music and platforms and things like that, and you've been quite open about publicly tackling those things. And I wonder about the strain that that's taken on you, being deplatformed and having to publicly say, this is what's happened to me. I hope this doesn't happen to you. But that's that, alongside being a musician, alongside playing live, alongside all the promotion that comes with being an artist these days, that's another level of stress. So I wonder, N0trixx, if you could talk me through how you've dealt with that and how you've coped with that.
Well, I'm still learning about how my brain works, but one of the recent findings that I found really fascinating is that apparently all the people with DID, like there is a concurrent condition which is called borderline personality disorder. I don't want to go into much detail and confuse you about all those things that are connected with my mental health
Yeah.
disorders, but those conditions make uh, people very susceptible to social injustice. And I always knew that there is something uncontrollable with me. Like all the people around me knew that sometimes they don't even want to discuss some social issues with me because I flare up and I just start running in circles thinking, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So one of the things that happened, obviously, when I was in Russia and the war broke, was that I just couldn't take it. And unlike quite a few friends of mine, I started doing whatever I could possibly do from my standpoint. So I got arrested on a protesting with a banner. I put a banner on my window, and if I got caught, then I would have been jailed most probably because they keep on jailing people for that these days. But then I had to flee, so I fled. I wrote a song about it called "Fuck War," completely deriding the government and what they do, and with all of that, so I just I find myself. I find it very difficult to stop. It's just it's an integral part of my of who I am.
Mm, mm.
I just can't shut up about things that matter to me, and somehow those things just like they drive me crazy. I cannot control my emotions when I face any of those things. So one of those things was obviously, yeah, the things that I faced with platforms. That was a very, very challenging moment this summer when I faced issues with both Spotify and Instagram at once. It was so bad that yeah, it's just. I had a severe case of depression back then. I'm just gradually recovering from that, and therapy helped a lot with that. But I don't think it's right to hide those things, because if you can uh, possibly prevent other people from having the same issues, then it's a responsibility. And I also what I one of the things that I found very important is what I noticed with this war is that a lot of people who have leverage and they can possibly make things change, and they can possibly make people think and start doing things, they all mostly kept silent. And you cannot make a change when everyone is keeping silent. Someone has to start. And the more leverage you have, the more people listen to you, the bigger the responsibility for starting that change with yourself. So even though I'm not a globally known artist, I already think it's important to speak up and uh, start with yourself. So this is where I come from. Um I I hold this responsibility, and I treat it with care. So if I can help other people with speaking up, I just do it.
Yeah, yeah. No, again, the work you've done. It really, really stuck out to me when I got your details, and I was very impressed with what's been done. And I think as an extension of what we've talked about, um, these are a couple of questions I like to get people's kind of thoughts on. Everybody's responses is different. You don't strike me, No Trixx, as the type of artist that is looking for, you're looking to inspire and motivate others from my perspective as a fan. So I'm going to ask you directly rather than putting words in your mouth. What do you want your legacy as an artist to be, and how do you define legacy as an artist and as a person, if they're one and the same or two different things?
Well, I have been really, I guess, lucky that because of my history and because of my condition, I have already experienced, well, as part of my head, like as part of, because I just need to take a step back and
Of
explain that
course, yeah.
with my condition, uh, I do exist even at times when I'm not in control of the body. I do exist there. I just cannot take control. I cannot do anything. I'm just watching things, and I'm just like a silent bystander. But the my other self uh, was quite successful at quite a few things. So she amassed she succeeded in her career in investment banking. She had quite a success in amassing wealth.
Mm,
She gave interviews on the TV. So like all the fame and fortune type of things, they are all basically achieved by her. And those are things that I don't really care about because I know how they feel and I don't think I'm really interested in them. So that makes me already quite different from quite a few musicians who are seeking that. But absolutely honestly, as you already heard from but for me,
Mm,
answering other questions, social justice and things make me feel like, as in, if I don't do that, maybe who else will, right? So
yeah.
I can do it, so I do it. And so uh, I have gained quite an experience in dealing with mental health issues and, trying to become a better version of myself. So, what I do a lot, for instance, I have a Discord server with quite a few people struggling with mental health issues and who are trying to find themselves in this world. So, what I end up doing quite a lot is helping them with my posts, with sometimes jumping on the server and telling how I feel about things. A lot of those people are teenagers, and I think it's a very important thing that with music industry being as it is these days, where it's absolutely oversaturated with drugs and nudity and profanity, all those things. Uh, to me, they are just not interested. I'm straight edge, and thanks to actually me having some musicians who are straight edge as my idols and my teenage years, I am straight edge, and I'm living the life the way I think is responsible, and that makes me feel good.
Mm,
So I think helping people who are still looking for to find out who they are, um, helping them appreciate themselves for who they are and not uh, end up doing things that they would later regret is a beautiful thing, and it makes me feel good. So I do think that here I can make a little bit of balance uh, in contrast. I don't blame anyone, or I don't judge anyone. I'm just saying that there should be a balance for all those things that are there, like mindless sort of hyping stuff. There should be something that is mindful and adding to the mm, good part of the world. So I would really love if I could help promote mindfulness
mm.
and all of that. Um, yeah, I guess mindfulness is the right
Yeah.
word, um, in the world, and help people maybe think a bit more of how to make the world a better place. However boring it sounds, and however weird it sounds coming from a metal artist, I think it would be cool if I could make that change.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it's an interesting word you use there, no tricks. So I'm a qualified therapist, and when people
Oh,
talk to me about mindfulness, it means different things. It's almost like a little bit of a it's overused as a term. So as a metal artist, I'm particularly interested in because again, your definition is probably not the average definition. How do you define mindfulness? What does it mean to you? What does that term mean?
to me, well, first of all, I'm Buddhist, so that's already brings a certain color to it. But um, I think with the way world is these days, people don't necessarily stop and think about what they are doing and what their brain is doing. And it took me years to figure out that there are certain things that could make me feel better. So basically, one of the things that I'm trying to push very hard
Mm,
is uh, people collect a lot of negativity in their systems without even thinking about it, and they don't understand that. But that makes a goes into a very, very huge snowball effect, because all the negativity that is stored within them just sometimes um, bleeds out on the people around them. And basically, if people could stop and think and work with their own emotions, just trying to be a bit more um, understanding towards themselves, and it would help prevent that. Well, in the the most detailed answer would be like there's a lot of upset in people, and it could easily be dealt with if they could start thinking in a different way. They could ask themselves, why am I actually being so negative towards people? Why am I actually being so upset? And if they could break it down and try to change the way they feel about certain things, all that online hatred, all that attacks against other people might might happen much less frequently. And those are things that, then again, it's like it's all what comes with therapy. It's all what comes with stopping and thinking about why we react to things in a certain way.
Yeah.
So I do think that it would be really great if people could pay attention to this. And this is one of the things that I actually promote. I regularly do posts on Instagram with regards to that, and I open up about my own experience with this.
Yeah. So people can check that out on Instagram, and kind of, again, you're building a community on Discord and things like that people can go to, and we'll make sure those links do go out. There's a couple more questions then, N0trixx, before we finish. Before we do the promo question and the plugging bit at the end, as I like to do. Going back to that legacy question, you mentioned success. Now, obviously, you mentioned the other personality, the other person there, having experienced that. But obviously, I'm sat with you now, and you mentioned not needing those things. So I wonder, would you already define yourself as successful? Are you already successful as a musician that has a dedicated following, as a musician that has a network and a growing platform? Are you already successful, or is there more things that you want to do?
I realized that my project is already making success when I started having all those messages in my DMs and like in my Discord server saying, "Thank you, you really helped. Thank you. This actually opened my eyes, and your music makes." Because music is also it's a medium for me. It's a medium of dealing with your emotions. That's where it all starts for me, and those, especially teenagers who are going through their turbulent times, when they write to me, like absolutely sincerely, because you know those young souls, they are young and vulnerable souls. They're quite genuine, and they don't lie that much in that age. And when they come to you and say to you, "You really helped," that's most probably a genuine thing. And I had quite a few really long messages thanking me for the existence of the project. So that's when I knew I'm definitely on the right path, and I'm definitely making a success. The only thing that is needed is basically, yeah, expansion is needed, just to be sure that the other people who need this can have it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, the expansion. And I mean that, sort of closing out now in terms of a message to those people that you have, you've connected with, the network, people that may be listening to this, watching this, and people that are yet to discover you. What is your message to those people then that have got behind you from the beginning of your career as N0trixx, and the people that I guess will be with you many, many years to come, fingers crossed?
My message is, well, um, let's make a world a better place by not creating unnecessary drama and negativity. Otherwise, it may end up in certain ways that we don't want it to. So all of N0trixx projects so far and all the negativity I put into my songs was stemming from all the wrong decisions taken, on all the wrong ways taken. So I'm here to help people possibly prevent those scenarios in the future.
That's a very succinct mission statement, N0trixx. I appreciate that. And the last question is there anything you think I've missed? Is there anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to promote as we finish off today?
Well, I think we've covered almost everything. The EP, yeah,
That's good. That's
I
good.
think we're fine.
Job done. Again, okay, I'll squeeze one in for you because again, you've. What is a gem of advice that you have received from? Doesn't have to be family. Could be friends. Could be something you've read, something you've watched. A piece of advice, a piece of knowledge that sticks with you every single day of your life, and something that you draw from in those dark moments, in those struggles. What is a hidden gem that you keep in your head from whatever point in your life that you draw from every day? I put you on the spot now.
Yes. No. I know exactly what it is. It took me years to be able to appreciate myself for who I was, or for who I am, and no matter who you are, how different you are, there will always be people in this world that will appreciate you for exactly who you are and will love you more for every single weird thing there is about you. And the more you embrace yourself with those things, and the more you appreciate and open up on those things and accept them yourself, the more people will be able to find you and see you and find you for who you are, and the the happier you will be. So the main thing is not to give up on yourself and not to suppress yourself, but being yourself and sharing with the world who you actually are, and that will inevitably lead to you finding the people that you will be happy with.
Absolutely. What a lovely message to finish off with. Thank you so much, N0trixx, for your time and making the time for me today. I really appreciate it. And we'll make sure that people can have access to your Discord and various links in the video description and on the website. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.